And welcome back. This is episode 13, New World Ultimate Guide. If you tuned in for episode 12, you're probably wondering, I wonder if he's going to catch a lot of heat for what he said in the last episode. Well, maybe. But if you can't handle the heat, you stay out of the kitchen. And I'm a master chef, so I'm cool with everybody want to hate on me. It would not be my first time. All that being said, I'm going to go deeper. We're going to go deeper. Now, you're already up to date with what we're doing in the game. Where we left off is that we got YOLO administration. Our president's senile. Basically, any strategy would have been better.
You gave Master Henry the what for, didn't you? Let's hope that bastard stays down. Leave it to me to tell old Tickler. I appreciate your help, friend.
There's already solutions for global warming, world hunger, world peace. They're simply not being utilized properly, or worse, they're being suppressed or censored or not funded properly because nobody cares or they don't have the vision for it. And I think a lot of that has to do with, when I talk to older people that are older than me, older generations, they don't believe in climate change. They don't believe in global warming. They don't understand how these are problems. And I think it's because it doesn't apply to them yet. And it probably never will. But then the rest of us are like, hey man, get your garbage out of my yard. Because that's not where the garbage goes. It goes to the garbage facility where they do garbage stuff with it. And whatever that is going to be more efficient than in my yard. And also, just in general, everything's like garbage right now. We're just bringing in all the garbage. Which reminds me, I just got an update that the SCOTUS has reinstated the Stay in Mexico bill or whatever it's called. I'm sorry if I got the wrong name. I'm not trying to be like a racist or anything. That's just what I thought they named it. And basically that the court overruled the administration on the fact that we should not be taking on infinite immigrants, especially with this Middle East crisis. The thing is that everybody wants to live in America. When you're in other countries, if they're not already successful in that country, and some of those people want to come to the U.S. still. So you got to be selective with who you let in, because it's like picking a dodgeball team. In school, we all know, regardless of how fair you're going to make it, and I don't think this should be removed for the record, because during these dodgeball things when I was younger, I didn't always get picked first. I played hockey for 10 years, but you couldn't tell by looking at me because I was a late bloomer and kind of shy. And so you wouldn't know. You wouldn't know that I would have been picked last a bunch of times. But I always played good, and people are always happy to have me on their team. But I was kind of like a sleeper. You didn't look at me and think that I had good qualities that you want in your team. I looked like a nerdy kid, So, anyways, that all changed one day when I hit puberty. But all that aside, I don't think that we should be removing stuff like that, because it taught me some valuable lessons, you have to appear that you're up to the job. And that's just a natural thing that's part of human nature that we need to be taught at one point or another. Just hopefully it's not too harshly. But people need to understand that, if you don't look like you're ready for the job, you won't get picked for the job. And that's goes back to dodgeball, you know? And sometimes you hire somebody that doesn't look ready for the job, or they're not like typically what you're looking for, which would be like a demographic. But they pleasantly surprise you, and they're really good to have on your team. And it's good to have that diversity. So really, it all comes down to like everybody can hang out and play in the sandbox, metaphorically, as long as you're not a nail and kicking sand in people's eyes. Everyone should be able to like be diplomatic. At this point in time, I would say we're pretty civilized. We've got like RC cars and other planets. So you can't tell me that like this stuff isn't possible. Like, why are there not more vaccines for other diseases that have been a huge deal for longer? Why is it just now and only for the current thing that we've got these vaccines, right? So obviously because there's a lot of research and money that's gone into it. But I hope that they expand it beyond like the current thing. Anyways, all that being said, what else is there to talk about? This is episode 13. I'm actually going to go see a veteran in a couple hours. I'm really interested to see what he thinks. So I'll ask him if he wants to make a statement or something, and I'll put it in episode 14. Then that'll be really exciting. I already have an idea of what he's going to say because I've known him for a while, but I'm going to ask him anyways. And I think that they say that there's no way that they could have done this stuff and everyone would have been happy or safe. And I think that that's just setting the standard really low. And they're not even reaching that low standard. And to fail at a low standard once in that role is unforgivable. I've had jobs before, like fancy restaurants and stuff, that you'd get fired for. I mean, it was such a competitive place, so many people wanted to work there. If you didn't know somebody on the inside that was going to vouch for you, it would take them 2 years to even see your application. And you had to be like really, really amazingly good for them to want to call you for an interview 2 years after you applied. That means you can't move, you can't change your phone number, that kind of stuff. So there's certain jobs that are like really coveted and hard to get. And I had one of those jobs when I was like a teenager, and I was making really good money. And I learned from seeing people that were twice or 3 times my age come in, get trained, get fired, or just not even finish training, that there was a certain standard at that restaurant that I had to obtain and maintain, or I was going to be removed from my job because I'm representing the brand. And so I took my job really seriously. I did a lot of research. I practiced at home for the first time, and for a job I practiced at home with like cards and, you know, studied and stuff, memorized everything, the whole menu. And I was able to help anybody answer any questions they had because I basically had, you know, worked there for years already by the time I was serving. Anyways, I mean, I've served on some cool people too. Served on Derek Jeter. He was there. I'm not sure that he would remember me even if I told you what restaurant it was. But he was cool. And he didn't like even want attention. I wasn't even sure it was him until I got his card, which has happened for a whole bunch of people that I've served on. I didn't really know it was them until you're looking at their name on their card. And sometimes their real name on the card is not how you know them with their stage name. So, anyways, that being said, that's the caliber of people that we're serving on. And, you know, growing up in New England, I knew I was like, it was an honor for me to serve on him. There are other people. There's a guy that served on Steve Wozniak. I was super jealous about that. But like, that's the level of serving that we're talking about. And I'm not even 20. Okay, and I'm making good money, cash. and it's really great. I was still in high school, but I knew that there was a quality level that I had to maintain at all times, because I'd seen other people go below the level and they just get cut. And a lot of that has to do with how sports was too. Like, I played pretty much every sport, and I've played pretty much every video game, and that's why I decided to start doing this, because I see people that are like total noobs making a fortune, and this seems pretty cool. I do it anyways, so I might as well like do some commentary, make some videos or whatever. But long story short, there's a standard that needs to be maintained to keep the job, and if you fall underneath the standard, that you get replaced by somebody who is qualified. And that's just the way that nature works. Same with dodgeball, same with ice hockey. You do tryouts and they cut you up. You go AAA, AA, A, and then even go down to like C. So depending on how good you are, you want to be on AAA or what league you're in. But you want to be on that high one, but they're literally separating people by their ability. So while you can say like rights-wise, everybody's equal, but what they're able to do and produce are not equal. That's why people have different positions and incomes and things like that. Now, when previous presidents have spilled milk, they've screed impeachment, and there's certain points in America's history when presidents that should have been impeached should have. Since I've been born and paying attention, which goes pretty far back, I'm almost 30, just for the record, I have never seen impeachment used properly or at the right time. But they're always talking about it every time there's a new election, or even if somebody's on their second term. Like, 4 or 5 presidents ago, he's just trying not to get attention right now, because everybody's going to blame him once they get tired of the pullout. They're going to blame why we're there, but we all know why we're there. We're there because we got attacked. But to what capacity are we where, for what reasons, and for how long? We can't have like the answers to everything, but I feel like one thing is for certain, and that is that the current people are not performing at the performance level that's required for this restaurant, and so they need to be replaced by people that can. I don't know how many more cringeworthy clips I could watch before I don't even know what to say. You know what I mean? Before it's just speechless. Because at this point, it's like our whole country, like, we're being trolled. We've got a whole bunch of trolls in the White House, and it's like hilarious for them, and they're soaking it up. And that's not what the job is about. The job is not about being an Instagram influencer or being fabulous or calling people out. What planet is this? Right? I mean, when have we ever been okay with administration doing any of these basic little things, never mind these huge F-ups? So, I don't know. I don't know how many people are going to see this or listen to it or even care what I have to say. Maybe it's the worst idea ever to put my opinion on a video game. But I see other people like Goblin. Goblin's a total idiot. I mean, he tells all his dumb stories. To me, he sounds like a 12-year-old, like, pretending to be me. You know what I mean? Not literally, because he's just garbage. But all his stories are dumb. I bought a fake vape card. I did a bunch of mushrooms. You're a loser, okay? Half your views are probably purchased. I don't know who the hell's watching this guy. I'm sure he sucks at games too. And there's so many of these guys that they think it's like hilarious. Just annihilating any sort of social or public standard just, I mean, these things are in place for a reason, people. You don't want to just act like an effing loser, drug addict. And it's hard to watch as like a smaller content creator that's just getting started. Watch these total J-offs talk about their stupid fake stories that probably aren't even real. And then all these other dumb people like idolize them for it, and they get paid for it. And they encourage us to make even stupider stories. And then they're encouraging all these people to do this dumb crap. And, you know, it's just like, who are these kids? Who are these people? People are watching this stuff? Like, that's crazy. Anyways, I figured I'd just throw my twist in there, because if somebody wants to listen to these people, I certainly have more value to offer as far as like commentary and stuff. These last couple episodes, I just kind of like been talking about other stuff, because I pretty much covered like the basics of the game so far. I mean, we're just cutting trees and stuff, but I think this stuff's important to say, and it's kind of like, I mean, we're watching a Trojan horse come into our country from multiple angles right now. This is my little version of a Trojan horse, I guess, in like protest to just get my opinion on the internet where other people can hear it, because that itself is a challenge right now. I mean, I monetized. People are watching these videos, which I'm thankful for. Thank you for watching them. Subscribe, like, and if you hate me, tell me in the comments, because, you know, that'll help me. So, go ahead, if that's how you do it. But, I think focusing these last couple episodes and kind of like getting the truth out there, because like there's people's lives that are like at stake right now, and I can't sit here with at least the smallest platform and not say something about it, to like stand up for all these people that are being screwed over. All sorts of veterans are being screwed over, all the citizens are being screwed over. You know, it's just an embarrassment. How hard would it be to just not give terrorists Black Hawk helicopters and billions of dollars and machine guns and airplanes? And, I mean, how are you gonna kill these guys? You gave them all of our stuff. So now it's just going to come down to that our people are obviously trained far superior to anyone in the Taliban or anything like that. But I mean, what if like 70,000 people last time I heard a number have been brought to the U.S.? What if 1% of those people are terrorists? So they need to be like heavily vetted. Because 1% of 70,000, that's still too many terrorists. You know? Even if it's a tenth of 1%, it's still too many terrorists, because look at what they did on 9/11. They didn't take but a dozen people, if that. So, I mean, and this goes for everybody. This isn't just for, you know, people from the Middle East or terrorists or anybody that you're gonna lump into that, because like it's even going on here at home. I mean, we were like sitting inside for a year just watching everybody destroy everything and light everything on fire. I don't understand how there could be that much anger over one or two people or a dozen people or even 100 people when there's not that kind of outrage in general. Like, what was that? I feel like that was just about like looting stores. I think that's because everything got shut down and nobody's got any way to make money. And it's kind of like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like, we're going to have an economic recession, so they create one. We're going to have a pandemic, so they create one. Anyways, this staff is alright. It's pretty cool, I guess. I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a very high level, but I can see why people like them. I just don't like the mana aspect. I feel like mana is for spells, not for regular basic damage, but that's what this game's doing. So I'm just going to avoid the staff unless I need it. So what have we talked about? Here's the other thing that nobody's talking about. I'm excited about this game because, like, you play all these other games. Like, I beta tested Fortnite, a lot of the Call of Duties, and I've played all of these games. I've played all the games, okay? And I've been very good at all of them. I'm just good at games, and I think that's because I've put a lot of time into games. And I'm a strategist, and I learn a lot from games, and I apply it to future things, and both real life and in other games. And you just get better and better. And so, like, you know, my rapier or my staff level's not very high. Well, I'll get it higher. And then, you know, as far as like real life skills go, I feel like all my levels are pretty high. I'm pretty all around highly skilled. And so I feel like there's people that might want to know what I have to say and information that I can share or simplify and deliver a way that helps people understand. For me, when I watch the news, it's so boring. There's a familiar face that you maybe tune into this person's show because your opinions align most with that person's show, or the channel aligns with your opinions. There's a lot of that happening, and there's very few honest and fair, non-biased reporting companies and reporters these days, and they're a dime a dozen, but when you find them, they're very valuable. The problem is that they're usually the ones that get, you know, like, removed from the pool of question askers because they ask the hard questions. And that's not what our country was built on. The hard question askers should be asking the hard questions to the question answerers. And the question answerers should be answering the hard questions to the question askers. That's how it works. So when you get one side is not giving us information or answering questions, that's not a battle strategy. That's just withholding valuable information from the people that you represent. So this is going to be like a podcast over New World, basically. This is my radio station because when I watch the news, a lot of the images are tough to look at or just boring. Or you see the same thing over and over again. And it can be difficult to process all of these different angles of information and really determine what, like, the truth to you is. And I say truth to you because, like, everybody has different truths. Like, there have been wrong convictions in the past if people get accused or convicted of things that they're innocent of. That's what I mean by your truth. Kind of like in the couples retreat. When Vince Vaughn gets nicked by the shark or something, and he's complaining at dinner about getting attacked by a shark, and everybody else in the couples retreat in his group is like, oh, you're fine, don't over exaggerate it. And then he snaps and he's like, I know my truth. I got attacked by a shark. I know my truth. And his wife's like, well, you did, but we think that you're making it a bigger deal than it is, and you should just move on and enjoy what's happening right now. And he's like, I know my truth, so he, like, leaves. And I feel like that underlines basically what Biden is doing right now. I know my truth, and then just walks away. But maybe you did get attacked by a shark, but, like, let's have a conversation about it. Because how you've experienced it and how everyone else has experienced it is different. And if you don't allow communication, you're just basically telling us to F off. So I don't think that our president should be spending more time on the phone with the Taliban, making deals with terrorists, than talking to us on our soil, answering our questions. Like, that's what we elected you for. You're the intermediary. So you shouldn't be shutting down your voters and citizens and giving a megaphone to terrorists. I don't care what they think. Does anybody else care what they think? Let me know in the comments if you care what terrorists think. But I don't care. All I know is that if they stop making trouble, they're not terrorists, right? So that's all we could hope for. But do you think they're going to stop making trouble when you give them a freaking arsenal and an armory?
My cold conspirator. Yep, this'll do the trick just fine. Good work. Let's just keep this plan between us. No need to ruffle any feathers.
No need to ruffle any feathers. I think it is time to ruffle some feathers. I don't think that violence is the answer, but we've got to get more organized as like a people. As we've talked about in the previous episode, we're all like frogs getting ready to boil in a pot, and there's only a couple of frogs jumping around, ribbiting, saying, "Hey guys, we're boiling in this pot." And then while all that's happening, we got corrupt politicians lying to our faces, treating us like we're stupid. You know? It's not good.
You really waded through the withered at Dayspring Mills just for my barley? That's raw. You gotta be some kind of tough for that. Thanks. Still can't get over it, the favor you done me. You're like a real friend. It's been a long time. I can't even count the years. So, I hope it don't seem like I'm imposing if I ask one more teensy-weensy favor. See, the thing is, my brewing recipe, well, it's just not well suited to this amazing barley. There was this Chef Giroux in Hilltop, had the most amazing recipe. Hilltop's gone to the corrupted now, but if I could get that brew recipe and some Hilltop hops, that would be like the best thing ever.
Regardless of who's in charge here, my loyalty will always be to the people of First Light. Defending this settlement is no simple matter, however. Yes, the critical thing is that we work together to ensure our health and our safety. Oaks is focused on procuring supplies for a siege, but that's only useful if the walls hold. The timber is sound, but the iron bindings are many decades old and rusted. If you could mine some magnetite from Letham's Pick, I can reinforce the walls.
Alright, so we've got a short intermission here, and we're about to pick up another quest. I like to keep the sound clips uncorrupted with my voice or anything, and to keep them at regular speed so that you can understand the storyline.
Why is it that in times of trouble, people are so quick to doubt their leaders? I suppose I will never understand. Of course, I am no fool, you know. I know what they're saying, but I must be guided by my conscience. Right now, it's telling me that first priority is to ensure that, come what may, we can keep people fed. There is. Long ago, the people of Forlac seeded their lakes with amazing fish. One fish will feed hundreds. If we had enough fish and the charcoal to cook it, I would sleep a lot easier at night. Well now, that was fast. Oh, silly me, you haven't been yet. Fish from Forlac, charcoal from Letham's Pick.
It's funny too because a lot of these storylines for these quests are actually coinciding with what's relevant right now, which is like what World of Warcraft used to be great at, but now they're just stupid and political, and destroying themselves. So, anyways, back on my topic. There's, no matter what you do, this current system, there's too much focus on single points of power. It's not rounded well enough. It's too easy to manipulate. It's too easy to house corruption and to take bribes and to influence things illegally. And it doesn't feel like a real democracy or a republic. And I figured since we're playing New World, I would maybe talk about what the world should be like. They're doing their own thing with their game, and I'm excited to play it when it comes out. And I'll definitely be making new content. But I just can't sit around, even with a small platform, and not speak my mind about what's going on, because there's so many people that can't and won't because they're afraid to lose things, lose their job, lose their friends, get silenced so they lose their voice and get canceled. And I've been canceled, and I know how awful it is. And just because you disagree with somebody, when you cancel some people, it's a sentence, and that's not democracy, because we're talking about, I've been silenced on Twitter countless times, but the terrorists, they're cool. Their shit's viral. But nobody's allowed to hear me. And I actually am offering solutions, and all they're doing is creating problems. And so we've got a squeaky wheel terrorist administration that literally pays attention to whoever is the biggest crybaby that makes the biggest stink, because like this Afghan thing is a huge stink that the whole world can smell, and everyone's like, Biden, flush it, and he just won't. And I'm sorry for the gross analogy, but that's what's going on here. We're all in an airplane with the president making a huge stink, and he won't flush it. And the way that you flush it is you communicate better, you get everybody in and out of there, you have transparency, and you also increase the military presence until you leave. You don't just keep making more guys leave. Why are you letting these barbarians dictate the terms here? They shouldn't even have a voice. They're the people that should be silenced, not the people in our country. And you want to talk about canceling people, because canceling somebody is like taking their rights away. You're basically like any of these guilty genocidal people of the past, where you're just silencing oppressors. Or, sorry, not oppressors. You're silencing opponents and people that want to, ask you a question. And it's your job to tell us questions, but you prosecute them on a world stage in front of billions of people because they asked you an important question. That to me is an impeachable offense. You don't get to not answer our questions if it's not classified. And if it's classified, you should probably tell people that, because just walking away is not good communication. Now, all that being said too, I basically think, the cat's out of the bag at this point. Where I'm sort of falling mentally on the whole political spectrum. But, whatever. If people hate that, my opinion, so much that it makes them angry enough to hate me about it, then I don't really want them to watch, because then I'm just going to have a bunch of trolls anyways. So, I don't know. This is an interesting social experiment. I was, this game is really great. I think that, Asmon's like complaining about his life being so easy and that he's gonna quit. And like, it just seems like, why is everyone doing this? You've got a good deal, dude. I know it. Ask me how I know it. I'll tell you, but you're not making an episode out of it. But yeah, ask me how I know you're gonna get burned, because it's happened to me. So I was doing this stuff for a long time, just not monetizing it or making it a channel. And yeah. But I feel like there's a lot of people that are complaining that are like, I don't know how many more times I can listen to a Kardashian complain, or how many more beefs that Kanye could have, or, whatever. It's all stupid. And it's all like dumb, irrelevant shit, and then we all wander around life going, why aren't any of these things getting fixed? Why does it take 7 years to get a road built? Why have I, been paying taxes for years and everything is just getting more degraded and falling apart over time? And the only stuff that gets built is private industry, which is really showing you like the government has like big government control and regulation, but they have like small interest in using that money and actually increasing our lives, quality of living. And while there's a lot of social programs that people take advantage of that I'm sure a lot of people need, obviously that's being manipulated on a large scale. Like, I don't have a job, but I'm not on unemployment, because it's just like I'm trying to do my own thing. I've got to sell my farm because my business has failed, and I've got to move somewhere else. And so I figured, what kind of job can I start having now for when I move? It's not such a shock. Maybe I have some sort of income, And it's crazy that like a person like me with the experience that I have and the work that I've completed and the people that I've met and tried to reach out to, that this stuff has not gone out like it should have. Like, if I made some dumb video about putting Mentos in a Diet Coke in my backyard, I'd probably get a ton of views. But when I start talking about how we can use this technology that I've built already and other people developed over years, and we put it all together, and I filed for a patent on it and everything, and they say you can't have the patent unless you build it. And then when I build it and I'm ready to file for the patent, my business gets destroyed. So like, I spent $1 million in 10 years building this thing to get a patent, so as soon as I can get the patent, I get KO'd. And it's by, the people that want to compete with everybody. And I really hope that somebody at that company is watching this video, because it's their company's video game. And you might be able to continue charging me storage fees for a product that you didn't sell on purpose, and you knocked off and undercut me and put me out of business. And then a year after you've taken it off, Amazon continue to charge me storage fees for the products you didn't sell. Why don't you just throw them out? Why don't you send them back to me? So what they've done is they've created these massive warehouses where everybody that creates a product like me that wants to have a fair and equal shot at the American dream. This is now my 10th startup business. This is the biggest one I've done and put the most time and money into. And I've had issues before with being silenced and people not caring about noble projects. And even now, after all of it, nobody even wants to talk about it. And I think that that's underlying this crisis of, it's a worldwide crisis of priorities. Because what I find myself searching for when I'm on the internet and YouTube and looking to be entertained and to learn stuff, I find myself searching for stuff that's interesting and can teach me something. So I'm not just, putting junk in my mind, because everybody's putting junk food in their brain, and so they've got an obese brain. And so if you tighten up on your quality level of regulation on your inputs, like what you're watching, who you're talking to, who you're spending time around, and you start to narrow it down and tighten it up, then you'll start to be in certain situations or certain people, and you'll be like, I can't do this, I gotta get out of this situation, they're too toxic, or you'll try to redirect it so it's not as toxic, and it doesn't work a lot of the time. And you start to learn that you just kind of need to avoid these people. You don't want to have a blowout or a big argument, because if you tell them why they're stupid, you're going to get in an argument with them. And the same thing goes for politics. Now, I'm not a politician, and I'm not a doctor or a financial advisor or anything else, but I have my own experiences. I know that when I mine crypto and I stake it at a percentage interest rate, that I'm going to make money over time, and so I do. And I do that. And I know that if I make YouTube videos that you're watching right now, even if you disagree with me or you think it sucks, somebody's going to watch this video, and over time, I might make some money on it. And so I've learned that the residual passive income is really the best tool that you can use in today's world, because everybody's talking about working from home, but I can't do the physical work anymore. So, how do you continue to work when you have to be at home, but you can't be physical? And so the best way to do that is just with digital passive income, which is how a lot of these famous people and wealthy people are making money, because once you have a platform, as long as you don't get canceled or do something stupid, then typically you could just sell t-shirts and make money because you've got a lot of people watching you. I'm not making really any money. I'm monetized, but I've made $1 or something, So I'm not doing this because I think it's going to make me rich. But part of it is, I watched a movie like The Martian, okay? And when he's on Mars, he's got to do this vlog sort of thing every day. And I guess that helps him keep his mind straight. And I think at this point, we're all kind of in our own little submarines. Our houses have become our submarines, and we all got to stay pressurized, and we can't go in other people's submarines, and everything's compartmentalized now, and it minimizes our ability to collect together as people and get things done in person. And now basically they're putting on harnesses digitally and physically on everybody that disagrees with them, until it's so unbearable that they're fine, whatever, do whatever you want. It's like Chinese water torture. So we got the physical face masks, which is, there's psychology studies already to prove that, putting masks on people crushes their individualism. They don't have as much confidence, and there's not as much personality exchange. And people are compensating now by having flamboyant body movements because you can't see their mouth, you can't read their lips, and so people are getting like flamboyantly crazy with their body language, and everyone's kind of like regressing in communication from like, you know, calm, collective, civil exchanges of opinions to like everything's violent and extreme. And part of that is because people feel like they're not being heard, because they're not, because everybody in the whole world has been funneled onto one source of communication and information, and every second is being bought and paid for by somebody, whether that's like marketing, advertising, or the actual person using the service. It's getting paid one way or another. It's in their interest to keep everybody stupid and confused and reliant on communicating through their system, because like I said, every second they spend is more money in their pocket. It's a simple profitability scenario. And this is one of the dark sides of capitalism, because capitalism can be used consciously, like conscious capitalism, but it's not being used that way in mass. There are some good companies that have conscious capitalism in place, and I'm talking all the way through. I'm not talking about Patagonia selling plastic clothes made by slave labor to a bunch of, you know, guppies or whatever you call them, yuppies. But you know, that's not like any sort of revolutionary change. But if everybody makes little differences over time, we might be able to catch up. But like, we're so far behind where we should be as a society, technologically, socially, economically, because we keep allowing these incompetent, stupid people to make decisions for us, and it's kind of like peeing in the wind. It's coming right back on us. They passed like this economic stimulus, right? Oh, we're going to give out trillions and trillions of dollars, and you get $1 trillion, and you get $1 trillion. Everybody gets $1 trillion, right? But we're the ones footing the bill, so we're not getting anything. This guy's just the best at spending our money the most. He's the most crazy spender that we've ever seen. We gave him the unlimited Amex to our donation account, which is our country, and he's swiping it on lunatic shit like crazy, like the card's gonna melt. He just keeps swiping it. How can you even spend that much money? And why am I not getting any sort of grants or anything? They're giving away all the money to a bunch of people that don't deserve it, and the people that deserve it have to pay the taxes while selling their business and changing their career, because I can't even do that career anymore because my one shot is burned. So thanks for hanging out and listening to me vent, and like and subscribe, and if you got comments, I'll try to comment back, and got one more episode.